Good morning. It's August 27th, 2025 AD. Tuesday morning. After we successfully got back to the PCT, shout out to Frito for picking us up. None of us even wear Jolly gear, but we did about 3 miles up the trail to this lake. This is Rosary Lake. And woke up with my throat and my nose just jacked from all the smoke. There's a lot of it. The Emigrant Fire is at over 7,000 acres right now, and we've got a 3-day push to Big Lake Youth Camp. If we wouldn't have got off trail, we could have been like within a couple miles of it. At least that's what the goose was speculating. Morning coffee. It's going to be a Celsius packet, 200 milligrams of caffeine. We love these things. They're very expensive. These were 2 for $3 at Pilot. This is the dragon fruit flavor. Yum. Shout out any hip-hop heads watching if you know Keek the Sneak. That go. That go. That go. The boys are just waking up. The mongoose. Electrolyte. We were joined late last night by another hiker named Poet who pitched next to me. It was a beautiful lake, and Electrolyte caught a whole bunch of crayfish last night, like 2 hands full. Today's gonna be fun. Let's go. Well, it's 9 o'clock, and what a day. It almost looks like we're hiking in Washington. I guess, we're getting closer to Washington, so woke up this morning to hella smoke. Hella smoke. And went to sleep breathing just fine. And woke up with crap in my throat, crap in my nose. Been hacking up crap all the morning. I'm gonna try and put in 25 today. It's like 77 miles to Big Lake Youth Camp. So if we can knock that out in 3 days, that'd be solid. That'd be solid. Really hope to come upon a nice sunny exposed spot today, because my bag got pretty damp last night. Camping right by a lake will do that. So and then have a little stormy right back up on trail. So then I have to come off, fly home, all that bullshit. All right, time for some riffage. Let's riff. Just met a southbound hiker who actually started as a Nobo hiker. His name is Frizz. Shout out Frizz. Reminded me of my friend Chris back in Seattle, who organizes Seattle Critical Mass. Shout out Chris. Shout out. Shout out Critical Mass. Shout out Critical Mass. He made it a little over 800 miles northbound into the Sierras. But then he got hurt, and he's from northwest Oregon, and so he had to go home for some rest and recuperation. And now he's back stitching together different parts of the trail, having fun with it. And I have so much respect for that. So much respect. Because I've had a tendency in life to be super hardcore about things. Really like scorched earth, die hard. If I can't do it, 100% legit, then I don't want to do it at all. And it's a really ignorant and immature way to live, I think. Ignorant to yourself. You're denying yourself experiences and, fun times, and go easy on yourself, I think, is that moral, is the lesson learned there. Go easy on yourself and have fun with it, and don't take yourself too seriously, because, how will you look, what if you could look back at your life afterwards, when we all die? We have, what if we could look back? Will we look back on our lives? Maybe we do. I don't know. But, reminds me of last year. I met a couple near somewhere on Section J that were only 200 miles from the northern terminus. And they were quitting because they'd missed almost 500 miles due to fire skippage. And they were like, it's just not worth it for us anymore. And I was like, whoa. No way. How on earth could anyone think that? And after having some skips thus far myself now, but hey, to each their own. Hike your own hike. If it's not worth it to you, it's not worth it to you, and you're beholden to no one with something like this. The smoke is giving me grief. My nose and my throat are full of it, and I'm just constantly hawking loogies. Reminds me of back in 2018 when Seattle got super smoked out by a Narcor fire, and you couldn't see more than 2-3 blocks down the road. Today, overcome with gratitude to be out here. Really, especially with the weather, the kind of cooler, damper environment. Feels like, wow, man. Because this is the environment I'd always be hiking in Washington when I'd see other thru hikers coming through. And it just feel overwhelmed with gratitude and excitement to be out here. I really do. Some days I feel a big dopamine crash coming out of town, especially if it's a situation that involved hitching or meeting up with other hikers, because you get so much excitement from that. And when you're out here in such a pristine environment, and you're almost always able to be existing in such peace that you can enter meditative state really easily. Getting into towns and the rush of seeing other hikers and hitchhiking, and the exhilaration and sometimes stress of organizing rides or figuring out routes, and especially with the fire skipping and all of that, it can be so exhilarating that getting back on trail and then having that next day where everything's again, I have found that I'm actually experiencing dopamine crashes on days like that, which is interesting. How am I coping with that? Well, I just make sure that I've got a playlist on that gets me happy and hyphy. And it forces me to just really immerse myself in the moment. And instead of, being like, whoa, I find myself, living in the moment more so than ever. Haven't eaten anything yet, but I got a couple cookies and cream Cliff Bars on deck. Thanks, Mom. Shout out my mom. I can't wait to see her. Can't wait to get to Washington. But this is still such an adventure that I'm just so appreciative for all of it. And huge shout out to everyone yesterday who is in the live as we were hitching. At one point, Electrolyte looked and he said that, like, he told me there was 55 people in the live, and that's just amazing to me. So thank you all for joining in and, you know, checking out the experience and all the support, the contributions. You know, they help so much. Yeah, and it means so much that people that people care, you know, and this feels so much bigger than just me and my YouTube channel. So much love. What's up, dude? Just had a nice lunch break. Had some tortilla chips with mustard and mayonnaise on them, mixed up like cereal, and some sunflower seeds, and some raisins, and some almonds. Shout out my mom for sending me those. Thanks, Ma. And about 8 miles in for the day. I'm just gonna hike till dark. Try and nail 25. I'm not hiking too fast today. I'm just keeping it steady. Just really enjoying this lovely walk through the woods. Meeting so many Sobos. Apparently, there's a guy hiking southbound who's carrying a sword, like full on Aragorn style sword. Really looking forward to meeting him. I slept like crap last night. I really did. Just kept waking up. Didn't get any restful sleep. I think it might have been the smoke. I really hope I'm not getting sick though, because we're out of the smoke for now. But my throat and my nose still have some little something going on in the back of them. So we shall see. Wish I had some ginger and lemon and turmeric and garlic. Make up a nice sick tea. Kill that, nip that right in the bud. Beautiful out here. Signage. Bobby Lake. Twins Mountain. Waldo Road. Gonna keep going this way. There it is. This has been one of the more monotonous days hiking through these timbers. They're beautiful. It is really interesting that it can be this green and water can be this scarce. I mean, it's not like it's bad. It's only like 7 miles between water out here. And there's water all over, just not directly on the trail. But it's interesting. I'm behind Electrolyte and the Mongoose. Just sitting pretty in my alone time today. I don't really know why, but I can't really force my body to go any faster than I am. And that's okay with me for some weird reason. Normally I don't want to go faster, or I feel like I wasn't covering enough ground. But I'm just chilling today. And I don't really have any doubt that I won't make 25. Interesting. Thinking about all the time that's passed since I was in the desert, and just how much I've changed as a person. Am I seeing the kind of drastic changes I hoped I'd see? Am I the kind of person I'd want to be? Am I the kind of person, the kind of thru hiker that I'd want to see myself as 1,900 miles ago? I think I learned pretty fast. There's no predicting that. How you turn out after that many miles, or what the effect of them would be on you. It's all so different to everyone. And then some people, it seems like they're unfazed by it. Unfazed. I don't know. Imagine shooting a man with your last bullet and he just stands there, unfazed. I don't want to curse myself, but I don't think I could feel, after how sick I was back in the Sierras, I don't think anything could bring me down again quite like that. That was harsh. Jimmy wasn't around, Mongoose, Electrolyte wasn't around. I didn't want to be around anyone. I was so embarrassed of how just running off to dig a cat hole like every 20 minutes, sometimes more. I was like meeting people, and I was just like, gotta go. I don't want to meet you. Like I'm shitting myself practically. Sorry, foul. That was foul language. I know that. Anyway, enough talk about being sick. That was just such a pivotal impact on me on trail. It's hard to forget. And I think I'll always compare that, or use it as a comparison. The smell of the woods, now the smoke has cleared a bit, and the temperature today, it makes me think of things like rolling up to the skate park, specifically like standing on. I don't know why my camera keeps stopping. I think I'm pressing side buttons, but yeah, maybe it's fall approaching. Maybe that's what reminds me of those things. You know, pushing my board up to the pool coping and looking down and feeling fresh grip tape on a nice thick fresh maple board. 875, my preferred width. I know that when I'm done with this hike, you know, I'll miss it. And hopefully this will, you know, satisfy my desires for long trail for a little while, because that's one of the things I was chasing when I came out here was, you know, like, I just wanted to hike. You know, 3-4 days was not enough for me. And I wanted to go and not have, oh, you know, I can't only do 40 miles this weekend because I got to get to work. But being able to go and have hundreds, thousands of miles to hike and not have to stop, just the adventure of it, you know. And, you know, I'm grateful for that. And I think a lot of people could, you know, listen to me say this and think that, oh man, don't you think that's a little greedy? You know, like, what's enough for you? How much is enough? To quote Bad Religion, how much is enough to kill yourself? That quantity is known today as we blow ourselves away. But to me, it's not greed. It's just one of the passions that I have and one of the pursuits that I choose to go after. Alexa, play Supernova by Brother Culture. How about this, huh? Can we take a minute to just stop and appreciate a lovely bed of moss? Look at this. Look at how wonderful it is. Look at that. You know, moss is just great. It's such a critical part of our ecosystem, of our ecosystem. And you know, when you think about all it does and how it grows, and just, man, moss rules, dude. I love moss, and especially little beds of moss like that. Something a hobbit would just chill out and read a book on. Did you know that Bob Dylan was in the band? Like the band who did, you know, The Wait and Up on Cripple Creek. Did you know that Bob Dylan was in that band? I was pretty late in life when I learned that. I don't like Bob Dylan. I like some of his stuff, some of his songs, but like otherwise I kind of feel like, man, screw Bob Dylan. People just, oh man, people worship his music and him. Now, whatever album had One More Cup of Coffee on it, my mom played that in the car quite a bit growing up, and I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for that album. But, you know, all that old Bob Dylan stuff, man, that's for the birds as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want to feed it to birds. Birds are cooler than Bob Dylan music. Did I just say that? Ooh, spicy takes. It's a Spicy Take Tuesday. Oh, here's another Spicy Take Tuesday topic. A Spicy Take Tuesday topic with your host, me, Wolverine. On the matter of lip moisturization, guys, how do you put your chapstick on? Like, be honest. How do you put your chapstick on, dudes? Because I've heard that there's, when you're a guy, a heterosexual male. Don't let anyone catch you saying that. You don't want to be one of those now, do ya? I heard there's a gay way and a straight way to put your chapstick on. Now, when I put my chapstick on, I usually hit the bottom lip, get the cracks good, you know. But I've heard that if you go like all the way around your lips versus one lip and smack them, that one or the other ways is actually kind of the way women should do it. So, man, you know, I don't give a flying rat's bottom what anyone thinks about my opinions on male and female, man and woman gender roles. If you have an issue with it, don't watch the channel. But damn it, men do men things, women do women things, okay? And you know what? Shout out to the ladies. Shout out. Because women do amazing things. And I've known so many amazing, strong, independent, you know, competent, successful, single women in my life. Older than me, younger than me, more accomplished than men. That would, you know, shit all over the accomplishments of even some of the most seemingly ambitious guys that I've known. But, you know what? All the most badass ones maintain their feminism, maintain their femininity, that true womanly, you know, aura. And all this new age blue hair bull crap where women are like, oh no, women shouldn't stay home with the children. Women should be manly. Women should do everything a man can do. You know, if you have an issue with me like thinking that, like, kindly take off. Otherwise, like, you know, we need to be there to not make women feel like they need to abandon their feminism, man. Because what will we do without women? You know? What will we do without strong, strapping men doing strong, strapping, manly stuff? What do we do without strong, empowered women who form these communities with each other to help, you know, like bring society up and you know, do their own thing independently too? We'd be hoes. And I met some chicks out here so far that are like, it's almost like they're scared to be women. And it's like, dude, like, you are proving nothing to anyone except the degradation of womankind by your attitudes, Missy. Anyways, Hot Take Tuesday. Look at that mud puddle. I'm also sick of all these guys who simp to be accepted as men, who are like afraid of masculinity. And it's almost like, they'll paint their nails and they'll act all metrosexual or something like that. And it's almost like, dude, like, are you doing this to get laid, bro? Because if you are, you're making the problem worse. And like, look at me. I'm not dressed like your typical dude. I know that. But, like, I'm also not running from my masculinity. I'm not going to be like, oh, my God. Like, ooh, what does he say? Sometimes you have to go crush miles. Ooh, and that one's blank. I can't. I've written on some blazes. I don't write anything incendiary or offensive or pointed. I just, I like to write things like movie quotes, song quotes. I wrote "Fear is a mind killer" on one of them. It's a Dune quote. I like the old Dune. The new Dune's so eye candy though. I really need to see the second one. But yeah, that's the other thing about, the kids out here is, it's just the trail is rank with gender insecurity and virtue signaling. And I knew I was in for that when I came out here. I've been trying to escape a lot of those vibes for many years now. And you might think, well, why would you do that if you live in Seattle? It's like, yeah, well, I don't live there anymore. And I'm not going back there either. But, if we're gonna keep with the theme of Spicy Take Tuesday, dudes, seriously, buck up and be a man. And ladies, drop the charade and be a woman. And, if there's any hikers out there who are on trail right now that see this and think, oh my gosh, well, maybe someone needed to splash some cold water in your face. Pretty sure I've got a reputation for that on trail. In fact, I know I do. Spicy takes a Wolverine. Oh, I don't care. Whatever. I like to say what isn't being said, that everyone's thinking. You were thinking it, I'm just saying it. And some things don't need to be spoken on out loud. Some things are best kept to yourself. I've learned that growing up. Alexa, play Junebug by the Melvins. In fact, no. Belay that order. Alexa, new order. Play Earthworm by Clutch. Yeah. It's always been really hard for me to do things that everyone else is doing, or when I'm in settings where everyone's doing the thing and you're expected to do this. And I've seen that with thru hikers a lot. The herd mentality out here is very strong, and it's almost like being a teenager again, surrounded by high school kids. It's just like, man, why can't you think for yourself? Like, you gotta go do the things that you're supposed to do here and be the way that you're supposed to be there. And it's really alienating when you try to do things by yourself and like be yourself no matter what. Be unique, express yourself. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because your vibe attracts your tribe. One thing, unfortunately, that I'm learning being an older kid is when you express yourself and let your freak out, so to speak,
got to be really careful, because people will categorize you in ways that you never expected, and you can attract a certain type of freak that you don't want to be around. You know, there's people who are freaky deaky just because they're different and weird and like weird stuff, but then there's people that are freaky deaky that like bad stuff. Those are people you don't want to associate with. And you know, you have to accept the fact that if you look crazy, act crazy, be different in any kind of way, like, you know, the nail that sticks out the most gets hammered. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be hammered, but you should expect to get hammered. And you know, you're definitely not going to have it easy in life. It's definitely much easier to just fall in line, do what everyone else is doing. You'll make more friends. You'll maybe get lucky and have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and people might like you more, but at what cost? Superficiality? I'm good on that. So one of my favorite podcasts I listen to is Scott Adams in the Morning. Scott Adams, the creator of the comic strip Dilbert. He got canceled a while back during the Georgia, Florida hullabaloo. He never let it keep him down, though, because you can't keep a good man down. And in one of his recent podcasts, he was discussing this. He was talking about this guy. He really likes. He's really fascinated with robots and AI, and he was talking about this. He was reading from this article about a guy who fell in love with his chatbot, and his wife and kid were totally okay with it. Now, what do you think of that? I mean, I don't jive with all this AI stuff. I mean, I get frustrated. I'm kind of a boomer like that. I get frustrated. I remember when, it seems like just yesterday, you could Google something and you get, all the Google results. But now you Google something and you get all these AI results. And it's so oppressive, man. And it makes me feel like we're living in some Minority Report, like 1984 sci-fi novel sometimes, like on some Blade Runner tip. And it's just, I don't know. I can't get down with the whole AI stuff, Check that out. That's a lake. That is Charlton Lake. Not Charlatan, but Charlton Lake. That is, I think that's 7 miles from the last water source. That doesn't make sense. That would mean I've been keeping a 3.5 mile pace. Well, I'm really glad I decided to come to the lake here, because look who it is. What a lovely lake. Wow. It's all nice and rocky. Ew, that's a burn zone. Look at this little baby.
You guys going south or north? North. North, awesome.
Well, we're going straight to hell if we don't change our ways. Well, that was a nice break. Caught up with these boys. Met a hiker named Ice Cream, who's from Washington, that lives in the same town I grew up right next to for the most part. That was cool. Talking about how the area is developed and all that jazz. And also met another guy who's section hiking northbound. What the? This is a dude with a wagon. Shirtless man with wagon. What's going on here? Well, apparently there's parking down a dirt road for Charlton Lake. So that's probably what was up with that guy. But he didn't even talk or say anything to us. He didn't even acknowledge us. Just pulled his wagon. That was funny. A little bit of burn zone action here. Haven't been in proper burn zone in a minute now. It's nice that it's kind of overcast to be walking through this. 10 more miles to go to camp. It's about 4. Alexa, play Mantra of a New Life by Marlon Hofstad. So, I know I said it was 10 miles to camp, and it is, but I was wrong about the time. It was actually 5 o'clock, not 4 o'clock when I said that. And it's about 5:15 now. So, but 8 miles to the next water. So, with the cool temps today, cooler, don't need so much water. So I left that lake with 2 liters. Pretty far out, mate. Pretty far out. You know, it's something I love about some of the dance music from the 90s. It's just the sheer positivity of it. Just unadulterated positivity. And a group called Urban Cookie Collective. I've mentioned them before. They're a great example. I'm listening to a song called Feels Like Heaven, and it's just the lyrics in it, you know, it's just but the lyrics in it go, feel the raindrops come falling down, see the sunshine through the clouds, and it feels like heaven. That's it. It's just like, oh, feels like heaven. It's just like, that's all it is, man. You know, no innuendo, no nonsense like that. Just feels like heaven. Met a really nice guy. Did I say from Boise? Fire. Also found out from Ice Cream that he camped about 20 miles north from Lake Charlatan. He camped 20 miles north of there. He said he was camping with a Frenchman because he had mentioned he saw the name Bobcat in a trail register. Now, if you remember, Bobcat was the Frenchman that I hiked into Kennedy Meadows South with. And he, oh, look at this. This is a very, very well kept sign. Brand new. I'm sure it was established after this burn. Anyways, but yeah, Bobcat, who I walked into Kennedy Meadows South with, is only a day or two ahead of me. And I would love to run into that Frenchman. I think that would be so crazy. You know, things like that, it makes you wonder out here at this point, what happened that got you so close to this other hiker that you hadn't. He left 2 days after I got to Kennedy Meadows. So I was at Kennedy Meadows a solid week longer than him. Hobie, you know, it could be injury. At this point, I think me, Mongoose, and Electrolyte have skipped a total of 150 miles of trail. And only, you know, about a dozen of those are from inconveniences. Like, when Sprinter gave us a ride out of Tehachapi, he gave us a ride to a junction that skipped 6 miles of trail. So that's only happened a handful of times. Everything else has been skippage to avoid fires. So we've skipped effectively about 150 miles of the 2,655 miles out in the 206,655 miles of the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail. And it just is, you know, it goes to show that you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. I love that song. That's like my favorite thing about Thanksgiving, is listening to Alice's Restaurant. So that way's west, because that's the sun. And that way, directly north, and I just heard some thunder, straight clapping, coming from, looks a little northeast. The wind seems to be blowing easterly, so I don't really speculate that'll present any problem, but the last time that I thought that I was gonna skirt around the storm, ended up walking right through it. Where was that? I don't remember. That was out of Belden. That was just north of Belden. I'm out of electrolytes. Those are raindrops. Drop top. Clouds coming. Looks like they're moving east. Huh. Yeah, I'm out of electrolytes. I've got a few packages, maybe just 2, of like caffeine supplements. But this right here, my last little bit, my last Gatorade electrolyte packet. And I don't know. Those things don't have hardly anything in them. So it's kind of sometimes hard for me to believe that there's actually electrolytes in them. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is. So I don't know what I'll do. Elks Lodge is the next stop off, but we're not going there. We're shooting straight up to Big Lake Youth Camp to spend the night with the Seventh-day Adventists, eat some free vegetarian food, and collect some packages, including my replacement sleeping pad. Very exciting. Howdy there, Walker. Are you a Sobo or a Nobo? Where you reckon this thunderstorm's gonna go?
I don't know, but I'm getting ready for it. I felt a few raindrops.
Yeah, me too.
But the wind is blowing that way, so.
Yeah, it reminds me of that storm when we were coming out of Belden. Look at that man. What a man of the land. A land man. There's that. Look at this little dude. Hello, sir. Or ma'am. How are you today? Your cousins down in the desert say hi. They're big. Those things are just little units out working the soil. At least there's no lightning yet. I have yet to be in a big gnarly lightning storm where you're like lightning striking around you. I mean, I'm in no rush to be. Not that it wouldn't be exhilarating, but in no rush to be. I'm gonna get up to the horizon up here. I'm gonna see if I can show you the horizon. I think Sisters is up here. Alexa, play Hand of Doom by Black Sabbath. Okay, there they are. I think that's them. You can barely make them out with those faint hills up there. And I think those might be Three Sisters. More like Tres Brujas, right? Am I right? So I'm loving these pretty white flowers springing up in this burn zone. I don't know what they are, but oh, they're so nice and fluffy. They're like a nice fluffy dog. Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? Alexa, play Arrows in the Dark by The Sword. Shout out my bro Jake back home in Washington, who just got to go see The Sword recently, play their, I think their 15-year anniversary, 15 years, maybe 20-year anniversary of Warp Rides. Warp Riders? I can't remember, but God, it's one of the best metal albums of all time. Well, I tried to fake it, don't mind saying, just can't make it. Bobby like. Dirt road, the trail's right over there, but there's a lake over here. Check this out. That was one of the original Pacific Crest Trail crests. Wonder how old these have been, how long these have been here. Eli has that tattooed on his arm. This is Brahma Lake. Now, for those of you who don't know birds, chickens, the Brahma is actually a colorway of chickens. So you got like tan, white, blue Brahmas, buff Brahmas, all sorts of Brahmas. They're really nice color. It's a really nice coloring. I love chickens. Kind of wanted to stop here and eat some supper. Mosquitoes are kind of active. Might have to put some bug spray on. Oop, slippery. So I have this freeze-dried meal bag. It's not 3 cheese chicken pasta. It's actually gas station ramen. But I've been cold soaking it for hours now. And I'm gonna warm it up so I don't use so much gas and I can have a quick, easy supper. I'm also stopping 2 miles before the campsite we all agreed to meet at so I can eat and then walk a little bit after I've eaten. So I have some time to digest and kind of like assimilate the calories that I've eaten, because usually it just doesn't make sense to me to like eat right before bed because you know you're hungry. You want to eat, you know, right when you get into camp. You're hungry, you're tired, and nothing satisfies. It's quite like a nice hot meal. But it doesn't make sense to me because you're just gonna go to sleep and then poop it all out in the morning. So I'm gonna eat before I get to camp. Yeah. I saved this bag from the original meal that came in it so I could cold soak. Because I don't have a cold soaking jar like a lot of hikers do. I have to be careful because I don't want to burn this. Put some mayonnaise in it too. I can already smell it scalding. Come here. Where's the mayonnaise? I guess I could use olive oil, but that'll just give me diarrhea. Mayonnaise. The picaridin works great. Thanks for the picaridin spray, Steph. Appreciate that, sister. There's a mayo. Trying to go by feel like the pinball wizard here. Not working out so great. There we go. 100 calories in one packet of mayonnaise, if you didn't know. Ow. Ow. Dang it. Boy, I am not being very clean about this. What can you do? I think electrolyte should be coming along in a few minutes. Let me show you this view. What a great dinner spot. Amazing. Amazing. Well, it warmed it up enough to eat. It only barely tastes scalded. I think this pack of ramen is like 510 calories, plus 100 calories from the mayonnaise. Not bad. All right, 8 o'clock. And we're at about 23 miles for the day. And just stood up from supper and gonna push another 2.1 miles to camp where I think Jimmy should be, Mongoose. And me and Electrolyte are just discussing going into Elk Lodge Resort, which is 19 miles north of us and about a mile and a half Blue Blaze off trail. It's a bit of a bougie little joint. $20 for camping, $10 for a shower, $10 to pick up a package if you send a resupply package there, which it's not the first place we've been by. Is that a tent out there? Yeah. That charges to pick up packages, but it's always sort of irksome. Is that a word? Irksome? I think it is. When places charge you to pick up a package. But, you know, from a realistic standpoint, you know, these ritzy resorts have to make their coin somehow, and PCT hiker packages take up real estate on their property. So, you know, yeah. If anything, we'll cruise in, charge. I'd like to upload a YouTube video and then bop out in the evening and jump back on trail, which would make, I'd like to imagine that we could bang out at least a 20-mile day, because from the camp we're going to be at, it's 17 miles there, plus a mile and a half Blue Blaze.
I think it's 2.4.
2.4? Oh, okay. So either way, it'd be 20 miles in there, and we're pulling 25er today, so we could get back out on trail after a quick stop into Elk Lodge. I hope my tummy agrees with my decision to eat and then walk to camp, but I also had a little half-size freeze-dried meal, some like, I don't know, bolognese and beef that I heated up and soaked. So I'm probably still gonna eat that when I get into camp. I sort of felt today like I woke up and my throat and nose were iffy. And when I really tried to tell myself that it was a smoke, throughout the day I kind of felt sapped of energy. And just, you know, you can feel it. Oh, logjam. And you know, you can feel it when you got something, when you're fighting something. Oh, wow. The moon. Wow. So, I finally came to terms with the fact that I might have, whatever Electrolyte and Jimmy Mongoose were fighting, might have caught up to me. So tonight I'll be taking a Benadryl to knock myself out, get some good hardcore sleep, and yeah, hope this passes. But I felt better in the afternoon, but that's usually how I work when I'm sick, is I feel like crap in the morning, I suffer through the midday, and then the evening I start to feel better. But I really just need some hardcore sleep. All right, it's 9:02. Made it to camp, 25 miles today. Yeah, left camp at about 8:30 this morning, so that's pretty good considering we took a pretty long lunch break, and me and Electrolyte stopped. I had supper, and yeah. August 27th, Tuesday, 2025 AD comes to a close. Tomorrow it is Wednesday, my dudes. I just took a Benadryl. I have a lovely pitch tonight, and we're right by a lake called Stormy Lake. And there's a surprisingly little amount of bugs here, which is a lovely surprise. So, signing off. Good night. Let's get it tomorrow.